Oh. Alright. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on, what do we got?
Keep going though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you punched the fuck out of that, man.
Holy fucking shit!
So good. Yo, Captain Pearl.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude. Holy shit.
Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch.
Always stand on kisses from you. Always got to stand up kisses from you. Always got to stand up kisses from you. Always have to steal my kisses from you. Oh. Alright. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on, what do we got?
Keep going though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you punched the fuck out of that, man.
Holy fucking shit!
So good. Yo, Captain Pearl.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch.
Always steal those kisses from you. Always got to stand up kisses from you. Always have to stand up kisses from you. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Always have to steal my kisses from you. Always have to steal my kisses from you. Oh. Alright. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on, what do we got?
Keep going though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you punched the fuck out of that, man.
Holy fucking shit!
So good. Yo, Captain Pearl.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude. Holy shit.
Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little bite. Ready? Bitch.
Always got to steal those kisses from you. Always got to stand up
live.
Oh.
Oh,
Hi. G'day. Welcome. How you doing?
G'day, fellas.
Who we got, Nick? Caging and Sukai.
yo,
How
yo.
are we? We got
Hello.
me old mate Nick Tacular up in here. Oh,
What's going on, everybody? Hello. I'm just spicing up the podcast this week.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of hot tamales in the fucking chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, there we go.
Love it.
All right, now I can see the chat. I've got the chat.
Chris got a new angle.
Yeah.
Chris, I don't know what you've done, but you've become much more handsome in the last
Oh, why?
Oh,
Thank
wow.
you. Oh, stop. Hang on. Wait. Let me get a hat because Grizz always wears a hat,
He
right?
does.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
No, thanks for having me on the podcast this week, boys. I miss you both of you very much, and Grizz as
dude.
well.
It is excellent that we could have a bit of a yarn. I'm really looking forward to this. So we tried to you guys in chat probably know that we did try to do an episode with Nick a little while ago. We won't get too much into it because we'll talk about it in the actual podcast. But basically baby things happened, and then and then it didn't happen. But here we are. We finally did it. We finally got it.
You got here. Yeah, Cap just they ran out of adult diapers. Cap needed some adult diapers, and it was just it was a mess.
Yeah, it was literally a mess there.
Yeah.
So, Pav, I guess. Oh, hang on. Let me just start the recording. And then
Start the recording, and then start your timer when you're ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
when we are we ready?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good.
You want to whack it on?
Those at home, which we're trying, I'm going to record the podcast tonight and then give Pav the file. So hopefully it'll fix some of our audio quality issues.
Not sure about stream, but should fix the recording.
Hopefully the stream will have a bit more bandwidth to work with. No, okay, very good.
Never mind.
Don't even worry about what I'm saying. No, that's fine. That's fine. It is what it is. All right, so we are recording as far as I can tell. Just one final mic check from you, Pav.
Checking 1, 2, 3.
Excellent. Cool. All right.
Beautiful.
I'm happy with that. So let's fucking get this show on the road. I'm gonna start my
Beautiful.
time now.
Let's chat games, boys. Let's chat games.
All right,
Ready?
start the stinger when you're ready.
In 3, 2.
G'day and welcome to Oceanic Gaming Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Monday night as we record this, 7 p.m. AWST, as always on Twitch Live, and coming to you probably in your car, in your ears whilst you're mowing the lawn or something, via your favorite podcasting platform. Regardless of that, thank you for joining us. Don't care how you consume this content, but we appreciate you doing so. Now, my name is Captain Perth, and alongside me today, we've got a very special guest who we should have had on a while back, but then baby things happened. We've got Nick Tacular and Pavlova, as always. But Nick, it is so good to have you on this podcast finally, mate. You are filling in the shoes of Grizzly Gaming 86, who is currently away. He's gone to watch
The very big shoes.
Yeah. Well, reasonably sized. He's a reasonably sized human,
Yeah. I don't know. He's pretty tall. I'm only 5'9".
Yeah. So he's away watching the Dota 2 international esports tournament. And let me tell you, I watched it over the weekend. Whew, the games were out of control. Grand final, shit. Utterly garbage.
What?
Utter garbage. It was so boring. Like the team that basically had team just absolutely fucking wiped the floor of the other guy. So it was a really sad grand final to watch, to be quite honest. But anyways, enough about Dota. More about Nick. Nick, thank you for joining us. Thank you for filling Grizz's shoes.
Thank you for having me. It is such a pleasure. I've been one. This is a good excuse for us to hang out and catch up because we're all very, very busy. But two, it's been a pleasure. I love chatting games. Like E3 is literally my crack every year.
Oh yeah.
So I jumped at the opportunity when you guys asked me. I'm like, absolutely, I'd love to come on.
Yeah.
So thank you for asking me on tonight.
Awesome. Freaking awesome. Now, Nick, I just, for those at home who don't know who you are, Can you give us a little bit about yourself, your podcast, which you collaboratively work on a podcast with a few other fellas, and also your own sort of content. Give us a bit of a rundown of spiel about who you are, and please go forth and give people the links they need, okay, to find out more.
Absolutely excellent. Thank you, Cap. Yeah, for those that don't know me, my name is Nictacular. I am a Yu-Gi-Oh! / variety creator from Adelaide. Yeah, so I just essentially just do a lot. I spend a lot of time obsessing over digital cardboard and physical cardboard.
Yeah. I love that.
As you do, and spending money on that cardboard.
Yeah. Collectible cardboard.
Collectible cardboard. Yeah, so that is my main content, and I also and that is mainly live stream on Twitch. But I also have a couple YouTube channels, one devoted to said digital cardboard, and also a tech channel, as that is another major passion of mine, apart from gaming and the likes of. And yeah, as mentioned, also do a podcast with fellow wonderful friends of mine and creators, LJM, who also runs the Stream Scheme YouTube channel, and Reaps, who is a fantastic creator from Australia as well, very pinnacle in the ANZ community. And our podcast revolves around content creation and adjacent things, and we also go into all sorts of fun tangents as well.
Hell yeah. Love it big time. Now, Pav, was it LJM or was it Reaps? Because I know the guys, I just can't remember which name goes to which guy. One of them was in a Telstra ad.
Yes, that was an Optus ad, and that was LJ.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I remember seeing like the "you can stream too," and here's our fucking data packages.
He still gets people today that will come into a stream and be like, "Oh, you're the Optus guy."
Wait a second, I know you.
Yeah.
Insert Spider-Man meme.
Super
Excellent.
quick story at PAX. He told me this at PAX. He was at, I think it was like the Twitch partner party or something. This dude, I can't remember who it was, comes up to him and is like, "I am sick of seeing your face in the Optus ad."
Get the hell out of here right now.
Here.
I'm about to have a fucking pre-roll before I order my bloody Corona from the bar. I'm over this.
It's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, dude, that's amazing.
Oh,
okay, well, yeah. So, and where can they follow you, Nick? On Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, the whole lot?
Yes, I am Nictacular without the R. And no, I'm not a vampire. It's because Nictacular with the R is taken everywhere. So I was like, screw it. I got rid of the R. So you can find me. Look at that. Pav's fucking on it.
Dropping
with
the links in the Twitch chat if you are watching live. Otherwise, if you're at home.
Links.nictacular.com will have links to everything, all the YouTube channels and the likes.
Links.nictacular.com? Holy shit, that's so fucking smart.
Yeah,
wow.
It goes to the whole thing. I run that through a website called pillar.io.
Do we have one of those?
We will.
Write that shit down.
Use my referral code. My referral link.
Hey.
Yeah, so if you can find me all on there, and our podcast that we run is called The Stream Room or Stream Room. So you can find Stream Room on YouTube and all the major podcast platforms as well, like this amazing one that we're recording tonight.
Oh yeah, and boy are we underway. Now, Pav, what's new with you?
What's new with me? Oh, dude, I'm blanking.
Did you do anything on the weekend? Did you go and watch the Dota event?
I did watch the Dota event. I've played maybe one game of Dota in my life. I got
Dude, that must have been a fucking fever dream for
you. It was a struggle, but I got into it. I was rooting for Secret as we started, and then they got obliterated.
Oh yeah, Tundra literally
tough.
used them as a mop. It was quite sad to watch. But I tell you what, Tundra, goddamn. Those guys are like a hive mind. Like, it was really weird watching the the interviews with those guys post game and like kind of in between the segments. And it was like the fucking Hypnotoad had fucking, it was bizarre. I don't know what their like team psychologist is doing, but they have got it. Like, it was crazy. It was, I don't know. It was like there was no emotion. It was like, we're just here to play Dota. And that's what they did.
Incredible.
And they annihilated. It was crazy to watch.
Of course, they got to have 100% focus. I tried playing Dota once and it was too hard for me.
I've got a Dota
honestly,
story.
It's a hard game.
I got a Dota story for you. I played maybe one game of Dota in my life. I booted it up. I jumped on, and within the first 5 minutes, I got asked to leave the team because I was because I was feeding. So I was like, "Well, I think I've had enough of that," and immediately uninstalled.
Oh, no.
You know that you're not doing so flash hot when in the team game you're playing, your team asks you, "Hey, we'll be better off without you."
Yeah, that was rough.
Love it big time.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry
Emotional
to hear that.
damage.
Yeah,
He's never been
emotional
the
damage,
same since.
Big time emotional damage.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, yeah. So okay, so you did the Dota, and that was about it. That was your whole weekend, was it? Bev? No.
Yes, sorry,
That
thanks
was
for
it,
checking
yeah.
in. That was it, dude. That I had a couple of events like nerdy gamer nightclub events. That was it. Just chilling
Fancy.
otherwise.
Where are they
cool.
hosting the international this year?
In
It was
Singapore.
Singapore, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, our backyard, effectively. You know, it's just down the
Essentially.
road. You know, so I would have loved to have gone, but obviously just had a baby, so that was going to make it difficult.
Not the best timing.
Yeah, no, not the best timing. So
I had
which
no
sucked.
idea that like you guys were so into Dota, because like when you told me that Grizz was going off to watch like it live, I was like, holy crap! I had no idea
Yeah.
he was that into it.
Oh, dude, but Grizz has been playing Dota for probably like 8 years
Hot damn.
ish, so a while. And I mean, I've been playing for maybe 2 years, but I played a lot of League before that. But I definitely prefer Dota to League.
That's fair.
For no particular reason. I just prefer the aesthetic, I guess.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
There's probably less toxicity in League, unless
I feel
you
like
can tell
I
me
feel
I'm
like
wrong.
League is a bit easier to watch though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's less mechanics
Yeah,
in
I think
League
that's it.
that you're grappling with at a time. Because you have the whole last hit mechanic where the only way you're going to get gold from being in lane is if you last hit a creep. You miss that last creep. If you miss that last hit, you don't get paid, baby. Okay, your bank check's not looking too fucking good, and that means you're not winning your lane, and that means you're probably not going to win your game very well.
Isn't that the same as League as well? Or
I thought with League, the last hit mechanic was that you didn't have to last hit it, or something like that. Or maybe I'm wrong.
I thought it was the same. I thought it because like people, I was pretty sure in League
maybe
they
you're right.
try to snipe last hits as well. And also for clarification, I was saying that Dota I think is less toxic than League, because I know how toxic League can be.
Oh, dude, trust me. I think any competitive game is fucking toxic.
Yeah, look, you ain't
there's
wrong.
always going to be toxic motherfuckers in your bloody competitive game. That's why I never play competitive mode in any of my games, because it's just not worth my stress. And also, I'm not going to be up on the international stage, so why am I competing? Like, I don't need to be doing that. I just need to play the game and have fun.
That's why I like
yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you know, when you're playing on Master Duel, there's no voice chat, there's no text chat. You're just dueling your opponent, right?
Yeah.
But then the toxicity comes from the cards that they use.
Love that. Well, Sukai in chat is saying that you get passive gold in League, but you still have to last hit, which gives you gold faster somehow. So that sounds like, okay. I know that there's also the other side of the last hit mechanic is the denial thing. So you can deny creeps from your team, or like the enemy's team, so that they can't earn the gold. Anyways, enough about Dota and its intricacies. Okay,
complicated.
But yeah, so there you go. Now, I didn't do anything last weekend. I don't think. I took Theo to the pub. That was good. We had a meal, and he drank some milk, and I think that was about it, really. We had a pretty cruisy weekend. I've just been playing a lot of WoW in between feeding a small infant, which has been good. I did play a little bit of Mario Rabbids, and I also downloaded Scorn with the intention of playing Scorn, and at this time around, but probably next time. But looks very interesting. I think they actually released a patch. Have you seen that game, Nick?
Yeah, I've watched a bit of it, and I've heard very negative
reviews.
things about Scorn from a lot of people, especially from a few friends of mine that are variety horror streamers, and none of them like Scorn. It was look, to the extent where there was like a little marketing thing that they posted for Scorn the other day, and it was a bunch of just like fake reviews, and they were trying to do something funny. But I'm just thinking to myself, Did they have no good reviews that they could use? They had to come up with their own, like, and make
Do you
it
know what
like
I
a
think the
comedy
problem
thing.
was? I think that they fucked up their marketing. They kind of made it seem as if it was going to be this horror game with like some kind of shooter thing going on, but it wasn't. It's not that at all. It's like a puzzle game.
They did,
Um,
yeah, they did not sell the game at all. And from what I was told by basically everyone that played it was that the narrative, there's like not really a narrative. Like there's literally nothing coaxing you along apart from
Yeah.
you have to go forward because it's a game. Like
it's the
that's
Dark
it.
Souls of puzzle games, Nick. You just got to figure it out for yourself, baby. Okay.
Even no, that's the thing though, right? So from what I was told is that it's not that the story is hidden anywhere. It's just not present.
It's just not there.
So
Well, how do you?
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know how. Well, I mean, I'm sure you could make a story about, like biomechanical, like, weird body horror shit. But yeah, I don't know what kind of story they'd inject into there. Because have you seen like the trailers and stuff for it? It's bizarre.
Here's my theory behind Scorn. All right. Here's my theory behind Scorn. You guys let me know what you think. Okay.
Yep. Lay it on me. I'm ready.
All right. So they tried to make a game that was scary. But it ended up looking and enacting like porn because like there's just fleshy bits. You're putting stuff in holes.
Yeah.
So what do you get when you put scary in porn? Scorn.
Wow. That is a masterpiece of mental gymnastics that I'm so on board with.
You're like, you heard me say porn. You're like, where's he going with this? And then it all clicks.
Yeah,
that's the only conclusion that I can come to because,
dude, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that dev fucking office and just seeing how close to reality you are, because I reckon there's something there.
I hope
there's
100%
something there.
Absolutely. Look, the positives with the game though is that if it just had if it just had a bit of narrative direction, it would have actually been a fantastic like short experience, and all the puzzles are very good. In it as well. So it's got some redeeming qualities.
Yeah, I'm probably going to give it like an hour and see how it goes. And if it doesn't capture my attention, I'm fucking vamos out of there, baby.
I think the game's only like 2 hours long anyway.
Oh, sweet. Well, I'll be done by then.
It's like it's super short.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it's on Xbox Game Pass, which we'll be talking about today. Everyone listening at home, we've got a big menu coming at you. But before we jump straight in, I just want to thank our wonderful Patreons. As always, you guys fucking rock. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast, keeping the money coming in. All donations goes towards Pav's Povo computer situation. The Pav Povo Foundation is what we're calling it. Now, Sukai, Moosey, Caging Runt, Sergeant Paul, Lee GD, and our new Patreon supporter, Jay Libs. Guys,
let's go.
Welcome to the money pit that is this podcast. But no, honestly, guys, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting us every month and putting money in the jar. It's wonderful. Now,
what happened just quickly, what happened with your PC, Pav? What's going on?
It's just
dude, it's just a bit old, and I think the motherboard is not enjoying all of the connections, so it's like dropping out every 10 minutes and like instantly reconnecting, but it is like for a split second disconnecting every 10
Gigabyte,
minutes.
if you're listening, please have mercy on this poor soul.
I hope that's the only issue, but I think at the very least I need a new motherboard.
Yeah.
Is it just from all the USBs you've got plugged in?
Probably.
Oh no. Pav's just got like a multi-core whip that's just USB cables just whipping his computer.
Yeah. It's just a fucking hamster in a wheel, mate. That's all it is at the moment. But yeah, now big menu tonight, guys. So a few things we want to talk about. Couple of things. First, The Witcher 1 is getting a remake. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about that. I'm very excited about that. Devs are pushing Xbox to revoke their mandatory Xbox Series X compatibility for games. So that's quite interesting. And Xbox has also missed its Game Pass sales target recently. So I'm going to talk about that as well. The Callisto Protocol. Very cool game from the Dead Space developers. They are cancelling their Japanese version for a reason that we'll tell you about if you keep listening to this podcast. So I'm not going to give it to you right now. Yeah, listen and you'll find out more. Age of Mythology. Bit of news. coming from the guys that did Age of Mythology. So strap yourselves in for that. We also played Mario Rabbids, the new Mario Rabbids game. We're going to talk about that. I assume you did, Nick. Did you play it?
Did not have time.
I'll tell you what I think. And then we'll obviously have the quick fire and all the other shit. So let's jump straight freaking in. The Witcher 1 has been announced to be getting a remake. It's being fully rebuilt in the Unreal Engine. CD Projekt Red has announced that it is going to be getting worked on by Fool's Theory. They are a developer in Poland. That's what I was looking for. Developer in Poland. They have done all kinds of shit. So they did, I believe, project support for Outriders. They did project support for Baldur's Gate. Well, I guess technically doing project support because that game's still not technically out yet.
It's still not done yet.
Yeah, they've only got, they haven't finished the gate yet. Divinity Original Sin 2, they did project support for that as well. So working quite closely with Larian Studios. And they've also got something in the works called Codename Vitriol, which they're working on aside 11-Bit Studios. It's a game that they haven't really announced yet. You can see some weird shit going on in the background. It looks kind of fantasy-esque, but that's in collaboration with the guys that did was it Frostpunk? I think it was Frostpunk, that RTSE game. Yeah, it was Frostpunk. Frostpunk and this War of Mine, interestingly enough. So pretty good developers working on the Witcher 1 remake. So that's pretty exciting.
Interesting. Okay, so like, yeah, they've got some stuff under the belt.
Yeah,
I am very excited. The one reason I didn't go back and play The Witcher 1 was purely because of how janky and dated the game is. Yep. So the fact the entire thing is getting rebuilt is really, really exciting. And I hope they do the same treatment eventually for The Witcher 2.
I think I definitely think The Witcher 1 is the perfect target. I mean, we're in the age of remakes and remasters, right? Like everything is getting a fucking remake and remaster. I think what was the one I saw the other day? I was just like, oh, really? Well, I mean, even The Last of Us 1, you might even argue, does that really need a remake just yet? But yeah, you got one. We're just in that state of affairs at the moment where it is less of a corporate risk and to our stockholders to just remake the games that we know are going to perform well if they get a remaster. So, but yeah, so I think, look, it makes a lot of sense to be doing a Witcher remake. I am very glad they're going to be doing so because, I mean, I played The Witcher when it sort of came out-ish. So I kind of played these games, fairly fresh when, on their release schedule for the most part. The Witcher 1, at the time, I thought played like shit when I first played it. It was the most bizarre game of all time. But I was hooked on it, man. I couldn't believe like just how enthralling this weird Polish narrative, I think it's Polish, narrative was. But like the combat was really bizarre, but the character just was so fucking cool. Just the coolest dude of all time. And he was, I don't know, just the whole kind of dual sword thing I thought was really cool. But I mean, I went and looked at a YouTube the other day and I just went, just about vomited. It was horrible.
Yeah, like looking, I mean, for me, I tried playing The Witcher 2 back in the day. And I probably played like a couple of hours and I didn't stop because like I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't think it was good. I think it was one of those times where it's like when I just happened to pick it up, which was quite a number of years after it released. There was just a lot of games coming out. So it was kind of thing I kind of got distracted and then just forgot to go back to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Witcher 1, I looked multiple people tell me just how janky it was and the controls were awful. I'm like, yeah, nah, that's good. I can struggle to go back and play old games like that. So
yeah, it's tough.
And The Witcher 3, but I played The Witcher 3, freaking loved that game, played the absolute crap out of that. It's going to be exciting to go back and play through things that just get referenced that you don't quite, have full knowledge about when you're sort of playing, especially The Witcher 2, but even The Witcher 3. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And especially if they have proper functionality, the same way that like that Mass Effect, like when they came out with the remastered trilogy. So like you could very easily, but from game to game, have that your character go across and your choices go across.
Yeah.
Because that's very much the case with The Witcher, where your choices actually follow you throughout the entire trilogy. So it's gonna be a lot easier and a lot more fun to sort of experience that.
Yeah. Now, one thing about this for me is I wonder how close they'll stick to the source material because um well, I think the narrative, not that it's aged because it's not a direct derivative of the books. I mean, it's obviously close, but it's not a direct derivative. I feel like they could maybe expand a little bit and do some more funky stuff. Not that it was the original game wasn't super linear, but it definitely had a kind of linearity to it that I guess it makes me wonder how they'll approach this in the new game. And I feel like they can probably do the narrative a bit of justice, but at the same time, I feel like the characters are really good. They've got all the classics, like your Dandelion, I believe, was in there from memory, and also the dwarf bloke whose name is not coming to me.
Yes.
But yeah, so I feel like they could do a lot of cool shit. But now, obviously, the big controversy at the moment, Nick, is the fact that when you had romances in The Witcher One, you would get a nude card of the romance.
Yo, they were sending nudes back then. Oh damn!
Yeah, back in the olden days, mate. Now people are kind of saying, "Hey, look, it's not like the most tasteful thing, and it's kind of degrading, etc." I mean, absolutely. How I guess the thing is, how do they just end up removing that feature? Here's my thought, right? Just say Geralt is an avid painter and he just does like a Titanic painting every time, afterwards, and then you get the card. And it's obviously consensual, right?
Yeah.
So bang, done. Right?
I mean, like having not played it, my thought on that is it wouldn't have been consensual for the girls to get like is it like one of those like side
Boob?
the word
No.
the words escape me. Like how you have like the monster manual in The Witcher 3, for
Yes.
example? Is this like, and you have like your encyclopedia for the game. So it's like you can go in the options and read about shit. Is that what these cards are? Or is it like
I think it was literally
in-game?
pretty much that from memory.
Okay, so it's not like
been
an
a while.
right. So
yeah.
it's not like an in-game thing where they go like, "Oh, keep this and remember me" type thing.
Yeah, I think it was more so just kind of like you've unlocked the Silvano.
Right. Okay. So it's
fucking
like an
sexy card.
unlockable thing.
Yeah. So
okay.
yeah, it's kind of like a weird. It kind of But I tell you what though, like there wasn't too many games back in those days that was doing kind of like, I don't know, like porny kind of, sexy things like that back in those days. Like, I mean, obviously they had, there's obviously games, but it wasn't kind of like I guess like a mainstream RPG. Having a mainstream RPG back in those days that was doing kind of something like this was quite rare. So I think in a way it kind of paved the way for games like, Mass Effect had stuff going on in there as well, and like a few other games that and then obviously we get to the point where we've got Cyberpunk where we're literally like choosing people's genitals and having full on fleshed out cutscenes with pretty full on fucking Game of Thrones-esque freaking raunchiness.
Well, Mass Effect, I mean, I played the remastered trilogy, so I can't talk for the originals. But going off the remastered trilogy, you can see like when they were during the sex scenes, you can see like a little bit of titty, but they never show like they never show like they'll never get like give you like a full on
tasteful
shot. It was very tasteful. That's it. It was very tasteful, and there was no there was no lower genitalia that they showed in those sex scenes. And the same the Witcher from The Witcher 3 was the same, but they just with when it comes to breasts, they just flaunt those things in The Witcher 3. But same thing, they obviously don't show the lower genitalia. So I think for The Witcher 1, what will end up happening, they'll get rid of these nude cards, but they'll probably make the sex scenes the same way they did in The Witcher 3.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
they'll just have actual sex scenes,
Yeah.
rather than the implication that there was a sex scene behind the scenes and you get a little card. But I mean, in
Yeah.
all honesty, like I kind of agree with you because like I'm not too sure what people's major issue is with the cards. Like, um, f- technically you would assume that there was some kind of consensualness there. I can't quite remember what the relationship was between Geralt and the people that he slept with in that game, but um, yeah, I mean, you can't keep everyone happy, and that's fair. It'll just be interesting to see how they target those kind of things in the game and what they do instead. Caging Runt is saying that we need some quick time events in the sex scenes
Yeah.
in the chat, doing like slow
Oh my
thumbstick
god.
motions.
Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, to be fair, like it isn't the first game, like sorry. When I say this first game, like for example, now this is a hentai game, but like for example, Honey Pop, that game,
Yeah.
you get the full-on nude like photos of the girls.
Yeah. And
as
you don't see people
rewards.
complaining about that on Twitter. Okay. You know? I don't
So,
know. I
yeah.
feel like I don't know, Nick. I think we need to be bringing this to the attention of the Twitter sphere, mate. I think people need to know what's going on in Honey Pop because if they're not happy about The Witcher, they're not going to be happy about that. Wait till
I
they
was
see.
gonna say, yeah, like wait until these people find out about Honey Pop. They're gonna lose their minds.
Holy fuck.
No, but yeah,
Ugh.
I think yeah, like the nude cards for me, like yeah, it is unnecessary, absolutely. But I think the devs, yeah, they'll probably just say like just make sex scenes like
Yeah.
if the Witcher 3, if they feel it's necessary. But that's just the kind of game that they made it. It was very sort of like, raw. It wasn't afraid to hide stuff, and not just from a like sex point of view, but in terms of gore,
Yeah.
and mature themes and things like that. Like the Witcher universe, like the source material, like delves into a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the games reflect that.
Absolutely. You're 100% right there, Nick. And like even themes like actually like the themes of racism in The Witcher between like humans, elves, and dwarves is actually quite well done, in my opinion. And I think it's a fairly good like reflection of our society. But I remember when I first played The Witcher, thinking like, "Holy fuck! Like this is like the actual societal themes in this game are quite, adult."
Mm,
And it almost kind of, even looking back on it now, and just whilst we kind of had this conversation, it almost has a bit of a Game of Thrones vibe to it. And I feel like Game of Thrones had a massive effect on TV serialization and just what people were willing to explore in terms of like narrative and story. And obviously George R. Martin's an incredible writer, and that's what kind of like sort of propels the story. But I think The Witcher's kind of in a similar boat where it also does a really good job of exploring these themes and having a banger fucking story. And I don't know. Overall, I think when it comes down to nudie cards, take it or leave it. I couldn't really care less. I'm sure Reddit's r/34 will fucking draw those up in no time. So don't you worry. We'll have the community
exactly.
made
With the way
cards.
with the way the internet is, it's gonna happen regardless.
Yeah.
But
So don't worry about it.
I think I think from the perspective of that, yeah, they're dealing with mature themes, but from what I played of The Witcher 3, when it comes to sex scenes, they never it's never like it's never put in the light of like, oh, here we go, we're gonna make all these gamers happy, right? It's just it's purely a aspect of the game that can happen, and you have to genuinely create relationships with with a lot of the characters that you can end up doing it, or in what like just like real life, you can go to a brothel, right? So they explore that in very tasteful ways. So so
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
suppose we kind of hit this point where it's almost like the argument for a difficulty slider in Dark Souls, where it's like people are just never going to be happy, Nick.
Yeah.
People are never happy, especially gamers. Gamers just can't fucking, they just can't be happy with things, right? So you're just not going to keep everyone happy. Just honestly, Fool's Theory, CD Projekt Red, make your fucking game, release it, and hopefully it's not like the release of Cyberpunk. I'm hoping that they've learnt their lesson in this particular area, but I'm sure it will be a good game and it'll be a lot of fun. And if you want to see some nudie cards, they may or may not be there. If not, you probably find them online. It's going to be great. Now, one thing I think the big reason I'm excited about this though, Nick, is Fool's Theory a proven quantity now, in my opinion. When you look at their back catalog, having worked on Original Sin and Baldur's Gate, I feel like these guys, I think it's in good hands. So I'm excited overall.
Yeah, and then I mean, especially seeing how good things can look in Unreal 5 from the Unreal, from all the demos that we've seen.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Actually, that's a really good point.
Yeah, I honestly just I honestly cannot wait to see how they transform that game, because the key thing you said was they're using the word remake, not remaster. So they probably will expand on a lot of narrative points, expand on things with characters, from everything that they've learnt, and with how much the series as a whole has become gotten quite a larger viewer base.
Yeah,
without a doubt, they'll expand on so many things, introduce more sort of open world elements to it, give you a bit more freedom. Without a doubt, it's going to be the best version of the game to exist, without a doubt. Yeah,
absolutely. Now, so CD Projekt Red recently announced a bunch of projects that they've got sort of coming along. Now, I can't remember all the, and I'm not going to be able to find it in 2 seconds, but basically this is they announced a bunch of projects that were named after star constellations. And this is the one that they were calling Canis Majoris. So we are now filling in the gaps slowly about what each project is, right? So this was the Canis Majoris within that list of projects. So I think there was 7 projects or something like that.
There was quite a few. Yeah, they announced quite a shitload.
Oh, here we go. So within The Witcher, long-term product outlook. So they had Sirius. And then Canis Majoris was by a third party. We now know who that third party is. And they also had a new IP in the works called Hadar, which is directly by CD Projekt Red. And then they've got a Project Orion being worked on within the Cyberpunk universe. So exciting stuff, Nick. Looking forward to it. But yeah, so there you go. The Witcher 1 getting a freaking remake, baby. And boy, are we excited. Now, Nick.
Yes.
Xbox. Hey, kid, you like Xbox? You
like
Xbox,
I freaking love Xbox.
Yeah. Well, cool. You like Xbox Series S?
Oh, I like all of them. The big ones, the small ones. I don't have a Series X. I said to myself this generation, because I was become primarily a PC gamer, I was like, I'm going to wait for a themed console, because I've never owned a themed console before.
Yeah.
And when they have inevitably came out with the Halo console, it pre-sold out within half an hour. So I did get a chance to get that.
Classic.
But I was very lucky. For those that don't know, I work very closely with Xbox ANZ, and I have for since 2019. I was a part of the launch promotions for the new Xbox Series S and X. So I got sent a Series S 2 weeks before it launched. Or 3 weeks before it launched. So I had I was one of the first people in the world to get my hands on the new consoles. And I couldn't talk about it for 2 weeks. Because then there was 1 week of the marketing cycles before the actual launch. So that was another major thing. Because I got given a Series S, I didn't feel as needed to go out and buy a Series X straight away either.
Yeah.
Because I love my Series S. It's a great little console and can still put out quite good graphical performance as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been really happy with things overall. Yeah, and I don't know about you boys, but I am luckily the proud owner of a Xbox mini fridge. Very happy about it.
Yeah,
it is. I'm so happy that they made the meme real.
Dude, absolutely.
I'm very jealous. I wanted one.
I just think it's the perfect, office item.
Dude, honestly, it's lighter than what I thought it would be. Actually, hang on.
He's grabbing it. He's gone to the fridge to collect the fridge.
I have.
There we go.
Oh,
damn.
wow.
Yeah.
It's
Incredibly light.
It's pretty good. It's so light.
You're throwing that thing around like it's nothing.
Oh, it's getting green screen, but chroma key. But it also you can plug it into your car. It's got like it's gonna you can plug it into your car as well.
That's pretty.
Like they think of everything.
Yeah,
that's so smart.
Does it keep your drinks cool?
Yes, I haven't turned it on yet. But it apparently will do it very well. Apparently the lights on top lights up on the top.
Oh, dude, love that.
It lights up
green,
on the front.
I assume.
And this is probably the first fridge to feature an actual USB port functioning.
That's very
dude.
Cool.
That is baller. I'm all about that. Okay.
So yeah, I had to pre-order mine through JB Hi-Fi because it sold out so quickly. EV games.
Oh, dude. Well, so just to kind of dive into this bad boy of a story. So the Xbox Series S, that's kind of like the entry level Xbox current gen console, right? So I say entry level. Then they have the Xbox Series X, which is like the that's what the fridge looks like. That's like their, I guess their pro version almost, right? But except the only difference is those two consoles came out at the same time versus, you know, where Sony tends to do like the new console comes out and then they do a pro version, you know, like 3 years later. This was kind of like the separation was there to begin with. But I guess for me, like, I guess Microsoft is kind of unifying its ecosystem to the point where you can exist anywhere, whether it's PC or console, or you want to play on your phone. No worries. Buy the Xbox Game Pass and just stream those bad boys to your phone. I feel like they're in this kind of unification, drive, which they're doing a really good job of. Now, to sort of get into this story, developers have kind of turned around and said, hey, did you know that it is mandatory if you want to be live on the Xbox, ecosystem? It's mandatory that you get your game ready for the Xbox Series S. Now, the Xbox Series S has, a reasonably lower kind of spec GPU and CPU. So, it is extra work for these devs to do. And it's becoming obviously fairly tiresome. Now, I find this quite hilarious because the dev that kind of brought this issue up, it wasn't like, Crisis or, fucking this next generation crazy game. It was a dev who has made a game called I Am Fish. It's a fucking fish in a fucking fucking bowl.
Bossa Studios? Is this
Yeah.
Bossa? Yeah. Love Bossa. They're great.
Dude, I'm all about that, but I just find that so funny that it's like the devs that brought this up, this crazy developer problem, the game they developed is a goldfish in a ball.
Yeah,
floating around.
And previously a piece of bread in a kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Like these guys, I mean, okay, I don't want to be reductive, but it kind of from an outside looking in, it seems like fairly kind of low scale games. But absolutely not. Again, I don't want to be reductive because these guys put in a lot of work into their games and they're fucking radical. But that was the game that kind of brought this up. Now, obviously, when it comes down to dev time, like that's the biggest thing, right? Is like you've got to dedicate time to, get the game working on this console, and then you got to get the game working on this console. It used to be, Nick, that you just go, okay, we've got it working on PlayStation, we've got it working on Xbox, ship that motherfucker. Now it's like, okay, we've got it working on the Xbox Series X. Okay, it's working on the Series X. Okay, does it stream properly? Okay, cool. How does it look on Switch? Okay, no. Okay, well maybe we'll just hold off on the Switch one. How does it look on the Sony? Okay, no worries, sweet. It's crazy how many places they have to get these things ready for.
It is look, it is very, very tough developing for multiple platforms. And I when you brought this up, I had to read through like the articles to see what were like the points that they were making about it. And so I had some time to sort of think about it, and it is a very complicated problem. On the one hand, Microsoft going into this generation, especially since Phil Spencer took over, which is great.
Yeah.
Like they've been very pro-consumer to the point where they even said for the first, I think it was like the first 16 months of the like the new console cycle, that any games coming out would also be available on Xbox One, which, I think is good to say that, okay, you know, anybody who's on like the old Xboxes will be able to, you know, still play some of these games. But on the flip side of that, by forcing, you know, devs to accommodate for the lowest common denominator, you then choke the best sort of version of the game that could be.
Yeah.
And look, when you consider console cycles at 8 years, and you look at the sales of these of both from Sony and Microsoft, people were prepared, you know, to buy a new console. They understand that when a new console generation happens, that it's a big leap in performance. They need to buy the new console to play the new games. Like it's already been established. So
Yeah.
you know, I personally wasn't happy about, like, it was definitely like it was like a hey, you're doing a good guy thing, but also I'd prefer it if you just you know, now that the new series of consoles are out, just leave the old ones. Like they don't
Yeah.
need to be touched. Let's
Yep.
play the new games in the best versions that they can be.
Yep.
And so that initially was my perspective, but now that we've been out of that, it's like cool. Now we're gonna like now these games will be in better forms and better versions of themselves. But to see this article come out was really, really interesting. I
Absolutely.
really don't know. I mean, it depends on the engine that the game runs on, and depends how efficiently that a dev is able to, you know, to make the game as well. Like, there's a
Yep.
lot of factors, right, besides the pure hardware. So I like I yes, it's lower power, but I don't know. I'm curious as to how much of it is the actual hardware and how much of it is just could they have maybe been a little bit more efficient? Like because at the end of the
Oh,
day, that's what you want to
absolutely.
be. You want to be able to make sure your
Yeah.
game runs like you mean you look at games on PC, like they have to make sure those games run on like that. It's even worse. There's so many
Yeah.
different combinations of components and there's
Yeah.
and graphics cards and things like that.
I suppose I think the thing is when it comes to a PC, right? People kind of know what they're getting themselves in for when it comes to PC gaming. Where when it comes to console gaming, you've got you know, mums and you know, fairly like run of the mill, you know, casual consumers that have bought this thing. They just expect things to work and they have to put any extra effort into running that slider over the graphic style and all this kind of other bits and pieces. So in saying that, I feel like we have kind of had this, you know, for example, you know, God of War Ragnarok is shipping with 4 different graphics modes that you can switch between on, you know, on the PlayStation. So we're kind of in this weird limbo where people kind of want customization, but also at the same time, like, do they really need it from a consumer point of view? I suppose like my big takeaway from this is I don't think this is going to change anything because at the end of the day, Xbox is in the business of selling subscriptions and consoles to consumers, and you know, developers are in the business of selling games, and the only place to really sell those games effectively is on marketplaces like Xbox Marketplace, like Steam, like PlayStation. They have to you know, play ball, unfortunately. I think, yes, maybe it does kind of, I don't know, hamstring development efforts because they have to put more time into optimization and I guess, you know, kind of just making things work across the different platforms. But I think overall it's just quite interesting and just seeing kind of like how developers what the shit that they have to do. I mean, I'm from a small indie studio, Nick, like I can imagine this would be a gigantic pain in the ass because I mean you don't
Yeah.
have 200 developers working on a Ubisoft title to do that. So you know it just means more dev time has to go into optimization versus probably the things you want to work on as a dev. Like you want to work on the art, you want to work on like the mechanics of the game and make it fucking cool. You don't always have just you know a well of time to work on this stuff, but yeah, overall, can you see anything changing?
No, definitely not. Like they're gonna push like the compatibility for both like for I'd say as long as the console cycle goes for. But I then again I was thinking about it when you know in the fact that eventually Microsoft like there's you know we've heard heavy rumors about the you know this Xbox streaming stick, right?
Yeah.
The idea
Yep.
that you know as XCloud becomes more prominent, they put more time and development into it. you know, people can go out and buy, you know, a little HDMI stick, like, you know, an Amazon Fire Stick or whatever, plug it into the TV, and then they can, and it, you know, it'll have full Bluetooth compatibility with Xbox
Yep.
controllers. So you can just, you know, play Xbox games and stream it just from a little dongle, right?
Yeah.
So one theory I had was maybe they will force this rule until the point where they're more confident in xCloud, where they can say, look, you've got the option where it's like, in an ideal scenario, you have your game that can run natively on the Series X, the Series S.
Yeah.
Or if the game is just too big and ambitious on Series S, it must be streamed.
Yeah. Oh,
Which,
yeah, good point. Interesting. Yeah.
Like that could be, you know, something that they end up working around. Or there's the other part of it was, think about Microsoft Flight Simulator X, where, you know, your PC, for example, and the console, for, you know, is rendering you know, the plane itself, and there's a lot of assets is rendering, but then it's also, it uses the cloud to stream in the world assets. So it uses a combination of streaming and local game rendering. It's like they couldn't
Which
they
is cool,
also
smart dev, you know?
Yeah, like I'm surely they could do that, because Xbox has this whole smart delivery system that they made, right? Where it's like when you bought a game and you were on the store would know if you were on an Xbox, like, and whether you bought the disc or like downloaded it, right? It would know whether you were on a Series console or the Xbone, and the game would give you the right version of the game depending on what console you're on. So, I mean, yes, dev size, time, and money would have to come into play, but you could absolutely have the situation where they utilize a smart delivery where the devs, if they're making the game for PC, they have to make low resolution textures and details, right?
Yep.
So they could just they could just take the things that are already there and make it target 1440p 60 on a Series S. So if the store realizes that the person is going to be playing this on a Series S, it's like, okay, we'll give them the slightly lower res and less detailed, you know, version, right? Basically with some of the graphic sliders turned down, you know, as a comparison. But then if they're downloading the game on a Series X, oh, cool, give them the full thing. Like, there's a lot of workarounds that they could do. It would require a bit of extra time. But I think if they had that communication with Microsoft, and if they kind of worked with them to say, like, look, we understand you're having you're having these constraints, so let's figure out how we can make the best of it.
I think we're just in a really weird space at the moment, Nick, because, you know, I think we're in this moment in time where we haven't quite met the resource and infrastructure requirements that we really need for cloud gaming. Like, I feel like we're almost there, but we're not quite there. You know, Australia obviously is hugely behind the, you know, first world countries when it comes to internet for the most part. But I mean, on top of that, right, like cloud streaming, the biggest thing that holds it back is server resources, right? So, I mean, it's not like they just go and hook up a bunch of Xbox Series X's in a, you know, data center. It's a bit more involved with that, and they've got to try and ensure that there's resources available for all these different people who are holding on to all these different Game Pass subscriptions, etc. But ultimately, you know, you'll probably argue that the machines that are running the Xbox cloud services are probably pretty close to an Xbox Series S in terms of power available to the subscription holder who is running cloud content, because it's just not feasible to be running Xbox Series X's to be performing all this stuff. So I guess from my point of view, my argument against this would be that, like, hey, well, guess what? Like, we're not quite there yet. We've still got more time. Like, devs are unfortunately going to have to toe the line, because we can't, like, when it comes to us trying to make these leaps to get to the next stage of cloud gaming. And I mean, personally, I would love to just have a single monitor that I just fucking latency free. That would be fucking baller, because I don't have to have a big fucking computer next to me. That'd be awesome. You know, and if we can get there, that'd be great, but we're not there. But I mean, ultimately, yeah, I can't see them getting rid of the Xbox Series S. We've got a lot of work to do on, you know, sort of solving this this resources versus infrastructure problem. You know, one day I'm sure Australian internet will be solved, but unfortunately we have the Liberal government to thank for their genius fucking communications thoughts. So here we are, but we're slowly getting there. But yeah, very interesting. Now, another aspect of Xbox at the moment, Nick, and quite an interesting one. Xbox missed their Game Pass sales target this year. Now, so just to kind of give people at home a quick rundown on this story, Microsoft was targeting a 73% growth rate for Game Pass, ending fiscal year June 30. They only achieved 28% growth. Now, to me, 28% growth, it sounds pretty good. Now, they don't release the actual sales targets, the amount of subscriptions they have. That stuff is all kind of, hidden away. But for the most part, I think it still seems like, so, I mean, Phil Spencer came out and said, hey, look, just so you know, like, this is still profitable for us. Obviously, it sounds like they had pretty lofty expectations of the Game Pass subscription. I mean, we've had a COVID pandemic and people have been stuck at home for a while. I think they're probably expecting the whole, I guess, cloud gaming thing to explode now that people, couldn't move around, but obviously things have changed globally. Also, we've got massive global economical issues going on across the globe. So to me, 28% sounds pretty good, Nick.
Yeah, look, I mean, the last reported number of Game Pass subscribers as of January this year was 25 million.
And that's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's all of Australia almost.
But basically, yeah. So it's a bit of an interesting one. Like, yeah, it's like, look, they're still seeing growth year on year, and that's, as a business, that's as much, that's what you can hope for. I think they were probably just a little bit too ambitious with things, and maybe they were hoping that a lot of games that were scheduled for release to come out on Game Pass this year would generate more of an uptick. And I will say I mean, the game, like every month there's been some great bangers coming out on Game Pass. The biggest of them all, I think, was probably the Persona series, like 3.
Oh, dude, that must have been massive.
Yeah, 4 and 5, or like them getting announced that they're coming to Game Pass is huge, but they're being staggered. That's the thing.
But that's smart because Netflix does that with its TV shows, dude.
Yeah,
which is smart.
It is smart, but it's also like Persona 5 Royal only came on Game Pass like a week or two ago. So it was super recently, right? So if it came out like 4 months ago, they probably would have had a way bigger uptick in Game Pass subscriptions.
Though, do you know what? One thing I would argue is that those games are fucking gigantic. It doesn't even matter if you stagger those games. You have not got enough time in the day to finish one of those in a day. Like, you are going to have to pump some serious hours into those games.
Yeah, no, they are big games, but they're so worth it.
Absolutely.
The thing is, though, because 5 was the latest one, it's very available. It's available on all platforms already. It's very easily accessible, especially on PC as well. Persona 4 Golden, less accessible. Only, like, to play the original, pretty much like impossible. But to play the remaster, you can get it on Steam. And 3, it's still difficult. But once it's on Game Pass, it's instantly more accessible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that eventually I think they're like they'll have the big growth that they're looking for, but they were just a little bit too preemptive on it. Like, and like you said before, the world, like, there's a lot of things changing with the world. People are, like, we're out of COVID now. So you probably had a lot of people that were canceling their subscriptions that they had them over COVID, which probably combated the insane growth that they probably had this year. So they probably had, if you didn't have anyone canceling subscriptions, maybe it would have been closer to 50%, 55% growth. But then you probably had a lot of people canceling because money. They need to save money.
I think, like, for me though, Nick, is like, I think Microsoft still has some bullets in the chamber when it comes to this, because we spoke about the streaming stick, right? Once that streaming stick comes out, dude, you can literally buy a console, right? Effectively, you can buy a console for like what? What's that stick going to cost you? Like, surely it's like $80,
$150,
Matt,
yeah,
like
at
$80
least.
to $100. Surely, like it's going to be like a Google Chrome cast, right?
Yeah.
So you buy that. $80 to $100. You've just bought a console. You then tack on the ongoing subscription, like you would a Netflix service, and you literally have a gaming console for over a year's time. You know, you're spending less than like $200, which is like, for a lot of people, that's very affordable. You know,
Exactly. And real talk though, right? You know, Google very much has, you know, like a lot of TVs these days have, you know, they have their own smart systems, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people still buy the Google TV dongle because it's just so much more usable. It's right, and it, you know, you can do a lot of stuff with it. Yeah, I have one too. Freaking love the thing, right? Android TV is great. If Xbox come out with an Android TV based, like, or Google, like, you know, like equivalent thing with this Xbox stick that natively, you know, you can do everything that an Xbox can, like, that's essentially your entire home setup in a $100 dongle. So they just corner a huge market.
Absolutely.
And, like, you know, everyone gets frustrated with you know, the amount of subscription services, right? Like, if everyone's like, oh god, I have to get another subscription service to watch this show and this thing. And that's like, you have a lot of people that are actually canceling their Netflix subscriptions.
Yeah.
I think eventually, like, I mean, you know, eventually Microsoft wants to, you know, they want to make more people gamers. But I think eventually they just will have that continuous growth. Like, it will stagnate once you hit a point where just majority of the gaming population that actually plays games is going to have it. You're going to hit
Phil
that
Spencer
ceiling.
has said that, right? He has said, look, we've kind of hit a plateau a little bit because everyone who wants it's got it.
Yeah.
You know, how do you keep selling it? To, you know, people need to use this service to buy it, right? And if they're already using it, they've already bought it, you know, it's kind of hard to unsell it, right? So I mean, at this stage, in my eyes, the only way for them to move forward and get more sales is bring that fucking stick out ASAP, get that in people's hands, and then continue to bring out banger games. I think one thing that probably kills Xbox a little bit is exclusive titles. I mean, doesn't kill them, obviously. I mean, Xbox Game Pass is performing incredibly well. But I mean, the fact that they don't have any in-house developed exclusive titles, though they might soon, having bought things like Activision Blizzard. We'll see that one. More news, hopefully.
You bring out a good point. Like, they own like 30 something studios, right? But we haven't seen much of the culmination of that. Like, because they're all taking their time. You know, we obviously don't know the behind the scenes of the timelines of all this stuff, right? I'm sure ideally they would have liked to have had more first party IP besides Halo, which got delayed anyway from the launch of the consoles. And then didn't
perform amazingly, unfortunately, for them.
And then, you know, did kind of, flop a little bit. So I think, you know, and the fact that they've been able to do this much just without much first party support, imagine when they do. All these, like the new IP that's planned, existing IP that's getting sequels or remasters and things like that, like, you know, the new Fable, and like a whole bunch of other stuff that's scheduled. It's going to be like wild. And the fact that they bought Bethesda, like Starfield,
dude,
when that comes out, that's going to be on Game Pass day one,
which is mind blowing to think that a Bethesda first party title is going to be available day one on, you know, a service that you're effectively paying. So you're getting a $90 game for $15 a month. You know, like that's it blows my fucking mind.
The value is stupid. The value proposition of Game Pass is literally stupid, like stupid.
You can't actually imagine that Xbox would be making money off this service, but apparently they are. I think the other interesting thing, maybe, Nick, would be like if they weave Games Pass into maybe their more enterprise corporate stuff like Teams and stuff. I could maybe see them getting some interesting, like, you know, you could do a games night at work, you know, like, and stream a game through Games Pass. You know, I feel like there's a lot of ways that they
hire this man right now.
Minimum 6 figures minimum.
Yeah. That's actually a really interesting angle I didn't consider. Like, Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest bridge to get. Don't get me wrong, right? Gaming and pop culture in the past 5 to 8 years has grown substantially. Like
Astronomically.
the
Things like
the
MCU have really propelled that, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like making, getting a more casual audience and a more kind of like general audience into pop culture stuff.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, like gaming is never going to be for everybody, but the more types of games that they bring out, the more types of experiences, like gaming is constantly getting more broad. We are in this like gaming renaissance right now where, a lot of like AAA stuff is actually underperforming and is a lot, is not being received well, but you
Yeah.
have a sea of indie games that are just
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal. Like this
Yeah.
renaissance is amazing. Like we're in a really interesting time right now. And that's the thing is like a lot of those indie games have they actually try to get themselves on Game Pass because they know that it actually helps them. Like
Hey,
because they get
there's two things there though, Nick, that we'll quickly bring up.
yeah.
Some devs are saying it's a great way to make some cash, and some devs are saying that now I can't remember what game it was. I think it might have been the Abe's Odyssey developers or whatever. They brought out their game on the Sony Game Pass, which I can't like the
PlayStation
deluxe
Plus.
thing. Yeah, so they brought that out, and they said that they reckon it actually hampered. They reckon they could have made more sales just by selling the game. So it's interesting. I suppose they've kind of got to make a bit of a leap of faith, right? Because you never know how well your game's going to perform, right? Until you actually put it out there on the market. So there you go. Kind of got to do a bit of a leap of faith, because if you are a new indie game before it's even been released, obviously you're going to be a bit more attractive, I guess, to a Game Pass or stuff, because like it's a new game. Of course, people want to play new games. Like that's how it is. Versus if you put it out and then you try and get onto the Game Pass, it's probably going to be a bit more difficult to actually get it in there. Will you make as much money? Who fucking knows? It's quite an interesting, I don't know, an interesting kind of ecosystem and market for indie devs, I guess, and probably a really difficult one to navigate. I wouldn't want to be a small team indie dev trying to figure out how you're going to monetize and where you're going to put your game. But I suppose we do need to move along. But with this particular story, I do think that it's quite interesting to see it still performing fairly well. I mean, in the wake of things like Google Stadia absolutely shitting the bed. And yeah, I hope that Game Pass continues to expand and grow. And I think things like, the Xbox streaming stick, whenever we get that, I think that's going to be explosive.
It will.
Yeah.
Game Pass is the best value in gaming, and it significantly poops all over Sony's like live service and streaming offerings. So I think if the Abe's Odyssey devs released their game, for example, on Game Pass, like it would have been a different story. Just
Absolutely.
hands down.
Couldn't agree more. But yeah, so there you go. Xbox doing the things. Now, have you watched much of the Callisto Protocol, Nick?
I have really, I know the name. I have barely seen anything of it personally.
Yeah. So we might just sort of brush over this a little bit. But basically, the Callisto Protocol is by the ex-devs that did Dead Space. They basically figured that EA, was it EA? Yeah, EA weren't going to do any further. You've probably seen it.
No, yes. This was the sorry. Now it's coming back. This is the spiritual successor to Dead Space. That's what
absolutely.
it was? Yep. Yes.
Yeah. So the devs from there basically, obviously, they left EA and went, well, they're never going to do another Dead Space ever again. Fast forward, a few more years, and EA's bringing out a Dead Space 1 remake. Regardless of that, they've kind of created their spiritual successor to Dead Space. Basically, what's happened recently is they've decided to can their Japanese version because they don't have the development time to remove all the gore and stuff to get it into the Japanese market, which I think is just mind-boggling, obviously, because Japan's a massive market, especially for Japanese games. I don't know how well Western titles sort of do over there, but it must be pretty rough having to make that decision because, we just spoke about indie, because, these guys are an indie dev.
Yeah.
It must be hard to try and make that decision go, do we take a chance on this and like spend dev hours to get this Japanese version cut and done? Obviously, it must be mind-boggling to even think about how you would even go about cutting out the gore in. I don't know if you've seen that game, Nick, but holy shit, it is gory. And I'm pretty sure the big issue with it was that it is like it just wouldn't it wouldn't be able to get a rating there essentially because it's too gory.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how you even approach that.
I pulled up the article as you were talking about it. And the thing right at the top, their quote is that they can't the adjustments that they tried to provide wouldn't be enough to get past the rating, and that if they removed all the gore, it would remove the experience that they're trying to offer in the game.
Absolutely.
And that's a really tough call. But you consider, like, we've experienced this as Australians. We have we've had games banned here. Hotline Miami 2 was one of them.
Postal, I think, was banned.
Postal was, I think Postal was banned in a lot of places though.
Yeah, well, that's true.
but at least with our our government board's a lot easier on the gore side of things, but they're very strict on like sexual violence and drug violence. So most games will end
weird,
up,
don't you think?
Yeah,
it's really weird.
they're really, really strict, so that you end up like with like levels from games being removed rather than like core parts of the game.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see, but yeah, I think down the track they might consider it worthwhile to make a Japanese version that is just a lot less gore. But I think as an indie studio, like you said, they need to make the most viable decision, and this is it. This is it. But without a doubt, though, once they actually get funding coming in, like I hope this game succeeds. I hope it's good because Dead Space is a very beloved series. It's not a series I play personally because I'm a coward. I'm a scaredy cat. I don't like scary games. But I'd actually be interested in playing this one since it is a spiritual successor. But once they have funding, if they get support, they might be able to spend the time thinking about how can we still deliver the experience we want to deliver while getting the approval rating in Japan. So I think eventually we will. It's sad that they can't
initially.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how. I think this will go quite well. I mean, from what we've seen so far, maybe it looks a little bit janky here and there, but for the most part, I think it's gonna. I mean, from my perspective, I will literally eat anything that is vaguely space horror off the floor on all fours. I absolutely slurp that shit up. That is my fucking. That's my jam. Couldn't care less about other horror stuff. It's just specifically space horror that I'm all about. But yeah, I think you bring up a really interesting point about, I guess, just in general, like, it's this big, again, it's a resource issue, right? Because, indie devs don't have a big, corporate backing, nor do they have a big board of shareholders going, hey, here's a bunch of money, off you go and do what you will with it. So it makes it very difficult. But I think overall, they've got to think about, okay, we've probably spent this much money to this point. We need to make that money back with the sales. Do we really have the extra X amount of dollars to go and make this, cut version? Probably. Well, and the answer is no. So there you fucking go.
Well, think about the Chinese market. Like, you have to. That is the strictest and most controlled, verification board ever, right? Because as a communist country, like, they really want to make sure and control what's being provided in their country. So you'll see versions of games, a Chinese version comes out, 1 year later, 2 years later, because it's just such a vastly different game that they have to essentially make and edit for it to be allowed to be in the Chinese market. So it's just something that is just a fact of what it is. Like, countries are,
it's a numbers game, baby.
Yeah, it pretty much is. I mean, if they had the backing of like a company
Blizzard
or some
Activision
investors or
someone
like that. Yeah. Or if, let's say EA was they were making this game under EA's banner, they would have probably still would have released the game, but not canceled a Japanese version at the very least. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, it might still be delayed, but at this stage, it is Cancelled. We'll see what happens. Watch
Yeah,
this
big
freaking
sag.
space. Now, something that's not cancelled and is actually getting a remake, Nick, is Age of Mythology. You ever play that bad boy RTS?
Age of Mythology. I played it a little bit as a kid. Great time.
Dude,
Great time.
I'm going to say something insanely brave and controversial, and I'm probably going to get hate mail from Caging Runt on the
I'm
Gmail.
already getting the PDF ready.
Age of Mythology is better than Age of Empires.
What? Bum, bum, bum.
Much preferred it from my point of view. I don't know what it was. I just preferred the whole fantasy aspect. I just thought it was so fucking cool. Age of Empires, obviously a masterpiece, but fuck, dude, I played so many hours of Age of Mythology. It was so good.
Honestly,
so good.
I like the thing is, right? You know, everyone's gonna have their personal preference, but at the end of the day, it's from a sheer play fun perspective. You're gonna have more fun playing with like mythical, creatures and and mythology, right? Stuff that like Age of Empires is the historical, take, and then mythology is the hey, we're gonna like give you control of myth, fantasy armies and stuff like that. You want a horde of griffins and chimeras, you go for it. You want to send Zeus as a lone man, go for it. Like,
oh, dude,
just go
so
ham.
freaking cool. Oh,
Yeah,
dude, it just brings. I want to go back and play it now, to be honest. But God, it was just such a great game. And now, obviously, it's getting a remake. So it's I think because I think they wanted to kind of take it a little bit off road essentially with the original source material. So I believe it's getting an actual remake. So it won't be exactly the same, but I'm sure that they'll have a lot of similar kind of factions and stuff. Like I'm trying to remember what they had. So they had they had Greece, the Nords, they had Egypt, and Egyptian mythology. God, it was just so good. It was just like amazing, and like running around. So yeah, 3 playable cultures: Ra, Zeus, or Odin. And then obviously, the different sort of units that came with those specific kind of factions, I guess.
Yeah.
God, it was just so good. Like, yeah. I don't know. I'm insanely excited for this because it's been a while since I've played this game. But goddamn, what about you, Nick? Did you play? You played a little bit of it, so you reckon you played just a touch, a smattering?
Yeah, so I like growing up, my parents, because my parents are not like they're not tech savvy, they're very tech illiterate. So I grew up on consoles, and I pretty much had every existence of the Nintendo handheld.
Yep.
So that was my gaming things growing up was handheld and consoles. My neighbor, on the other hand, they had consoles, but they also had a few PCs in the house. So I've got very fond memories going back and playing the original Age of Empires and Age of Empires 2, like literally fucking old school, like land the computers together. It was amazing. So much fun. Like, and they'd hook up, like they had like a couple laptops in the house, like old big fat laptops, and we just land them up, and it was the best.
So
oh my God,
good, dude.
So I remember I tried Age of Mythology a couple times, but for the most part, like we just played a lot of Age of Empires just because that was what they played and what my neighbors preferred. So because I can't exactly come over and be like, I'm taking your PC for an hour to play Age of Mythology.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't your PC.
Exactly. So no, I'm very excited, and given the great work they did with the Age of Empires 2 remaster and the great work they did with Age of Empires 4, I have full faith they're going to do some crazy good shit with Age of Mythology and just really bring that game into a modern day RTS.
Yeah. Give it a nice new lick of paint. Maybe expand the god offering. So Lee GD in chat is saying that you could basically choose from a bunch of different gods. So it wasn't just the Ra, Zeus, Odin. It was actually you could have from the Egyptian set you could have Ra, Isis, and Set. From the Greek set, you could have Zeus, Poseidon, or Hades, and from the Norse set, you could have Thor, Odin, and Loki, which is pretty fucking. And then I believe you could also choose minor gods, which gave you certain things as well. So
that's pretty cool. I'm
Very
down.
fucking baller
I'm
game.
so
Yeah,
down for
dude,
it.
We're
I'm ready.
landing the fuck out of that, dude.
Oh,
And
yeah. Can
when I
we
say
set up a
land, I
night?
mean
We'll just play
online for sure.
Yeah. Can we just set up a night, play some Age when it comes out?
Oh yeah, we're doing it. It's gonna be
Yeah.
sick.
And we won't
yeah, so
have to
lock
pay
that in.
for it because we'll be on Game Pass.
Now, were you much of a RTS gamer, or are you much of an RTS gamer?
So there are two genres of games that I enjoy thoroughly, but I'm fucking terrible at. And
Yeah.
RTS is one, and fighting games are the other. I love them. I enjoy them. I'm terrible at them from like a high, like a competitive sense.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of in a similar boat. Like I liked certain RTSs. So this question is going to kind of lead into that. What was your favorite RTS of all time? I'll give you mine whilst you think about it. Right?
Command and Conquer Generals 0 Hour.
Oh, very nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never played that, but I basically watched my friend do the whole campaign, and it was a great game.
Command and Conquer was great. Even like the other like the more sort of fictional like because the Command and Conquer Generals was like real world based, whereas the other Command and Conquers were like you're in space and you had different types of stuff. Like Command and Conquer was freaking amazing. It was brilliant. Loved that. Look, it's so hard to choose. Why are you making me choose, Cap? Why are you making me choose, man?
Sorry, mate. We've all got to take a side sometimes.
I love. I don't know. I think Age of Empires 2 probably takes the cake, but Command and Conquer is a close second. What about you?
Yeah. Warcraft 3 was my crack.
Oh my god! Jeez, I forgot Warcraft 3 existed.
Dude,
sorry,
Warcraft 3.
Teacher, can I change my answer?
Absolutely. I've already used the whiteout on yours, mate. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I played stupid amounts of Warcraft 3.
Dude, I think it might actually probably be the game I have potentially the most hours in ever, apart from World of Warcraft. But yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, because I played a lot of that. I never played like online, but I played so much of that game. I
played that campaign so many times. An immaculate game. It's a shame what they did to the remaster the remaster for that game. But the reason I asked this question, Nick, is because I forgot to do the poll on the weekend. So I thought, fuck it, we're just gonna do what your favorite and my favorite was. But you know what? Ultimately, I would have got flames to hell because people would. Okay, when it comes to Twitter polls, you only get 4 options. And my question was going to be, what's your favorite RTS? And then I would have had to give people 4 options. And then Caging Runt would have been like, where's fucking this RTS that came out in the early 1950s? And I would have been like, what are you fucking talking about? Anyways, so basically, this worked out way better.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could have gone at least by series and not by individual, like, individual games. So you could have gone like Age of Empires series, Warcraft series, Command and Conquer series. Yeah. So then you wouldn't have been flamed. You would have been okay.
See, Caging Run brings up a good one is the Dune RTSs, which obviously Dune's getting another kind of, remake, I guess, kind of, but it's also its own new sort of RTS game. So that's another classic RTS series.
No, hang on. No, didn't it come out? It was Dune already out.
Isn't it in beta?
Or it might be early access. Dune
early access.
Spice Wars.
Yeah, Spice Wars. Fuck, surely you're playing that one with.
Dude. I'm like, it's called the Spice Wars. Like, I have to. I have to. Got to control the spice. There's Dune.
Live fact check.
Okay, yeah, So yeah, Spice Wars is already out.
It is fully out.
Yeah, it's out on Steam, and it's got a 9 out of 10 from its ratings.
Okay,
but it's early access, so it's early access. Yeah.
Okay, it is early access. Yeah, I thought so.
Also, I saw in Google that Dune MMO.
Yes, which I reckon is going to function closely to how the Conan Rust clone works.
Gotcha. Yep, that makes sense.
So I don't think it's like an MMO thing. I think it's going to be like a survival MMO thing that.
Yes, it did. Yeah, so he did say survival. That makes sense. Also, quickly, Pav, what is your favorite RTS?
Yeah.
Oh, not a big RTS guy, but I think the only 2 I rarely played were probably Warcraft 3 and Age of Empires.
Oh, we have Have you lost Pav? I just
Yeah,
lost
sorry.
Pav then.
That was your 10-minute.
Oh god, yeah.
Warcraft 3 and
Age of Empires 2 was the other.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the classics.
But
Very
also,
good.
I'm absolute garbage. I'm with you, Nick.
Yeah,
Played the PVE a lot, but that was about it.
I'm the dude in the RTS who spends all his time like building up his base and filling every crevice with a unit and then being like charge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. Absolutely the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Did you like were you other people? Did you end up googling these cheat codes or the kind of thing that you
Big
had
Daddy's all the
friends
way.
that told
Big
you?
Daddy, absolutely. Every day of the week. What was the baby one? There was like the baby in the
can't
pram.
Babe,
Oh,
wait,
man.
what? I mean, look,
There was
okay,
a
hang on.
baby
There
in
was
a pram.
Photon Man. There was the Who's Your Daddy, and there was How Do You Turn This Thing On? That was another one. That was Age of Mythology, I think.
Empire's
one of them.
baby pram. I'm telling you, baby prez. Google baby prez, and you.
Baby prez?
It wasn't. It was a baby on a fucking trike with a gun.
What?
Yes.
Was this Age of Empires?
Oh
my god, yes! What?
Age of Empires: The Rise of Rome, dude.
Oh, okay. I never played Rise of Rome, so that makes sense. The
Which
cheat
I don't
code
know.
was PAL.
Yeah. Oh, that was an expansion pack. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
there you freaking go.
Dude, I was
Yeah.
that kid that like every time, I'd go out and then I'd stop at the newsagent and I asked my mum to like buy me the new cheat code book.
Dude, absolutely.
came
So was
out.
I. Dude, absolutely. And just in case there was a new one, a cheat code you didn't like wasn't in the other books. You know what I mean?
Oh god, yeah, exactly. Because like, you're like, oh, these new games came out. It's been a few months since the last cheat code book was printed. I gotta have the new one. I gotta see what's going on.
You freaking Zoomers at home listening. We didn't have the freaking internet back in the day. We had to freaking buy magazines and shit. So yeah, but yeah. So anyways, Age of Mythology getting a remake. Very excited. Look forward to it. Sorry we didn't do a poll this week. Now look, we haven't got time for a Mario Rabbids review, so I'm just gonna fucking skippity doodah over that one. We'll talk about that next week.
It looks good. And it looks like an improvement, and that's yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you my quick, capo fucking 2-minute breakdown. Probably the thing that I appreciate the most is they have a difficulty slider that you get to choose early on in the game. It's not made them like I'm playing on the hardest setting and it hasn't been horrifically hard or anything. I did hit the first boss fight and got absolutely fucking stomped. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? So that's one thing. But I think the aesthetic of the game is really cool. It's hard to believe that Ubisoft has actually made Rabbids like the whole idea of Rabbids is that just they're so obnoxiously annoying. But they've actually done a good job of making them like good characters. Obviously it is kind of like a the target audience is. See, we've spoken about this before. Who the fuck is the target audience for this game? Because not many kids I know want to play a fucking XCOM clone.
Well, I mean, the fact that it incorporates Mario and stuff is obviously the big selling point. But like like the biggest surprise from the original was they made a good like turn-based strategy. Like it was top. And everything I've seen from the trailers and gameplay, that every aspect has been improved, either slightly or majorly. It just looks a better version.
Yeah.
And
they've got an overworld. The overworld functions well. I was worried with some of the trailers that they might have some FPS stuttery sadness from the Switch, and I haven't noticed any yet, which has been really good. But yeah, so far, solid game. Fairly simplified, as is most Nintendo kind of products. It just is what it is. So you're not going to get like a list of fucking like I don't know skills and weaknesses of things like you would in XCOM. It's not that degree of complexity, but it's fairly simplified, streamlined version of that kind of game, and it's just a lot of fun. So if you're looking for that, it's good, and they actually do a pretty decent job of making the characters not insanely annoying, and they're kind of funny. So have enjoyed it so far.
I'm going to be streaming it this Friday. I am excited.
Stream the frick out of it. I'll probably tune in and watch, baby, because I just feed an infant for most of my time at the moment. So
I
need
will be your entertainment while you be a daddy.
Yep. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Now, again, we couldn't do the OGR poll this week. I'm sorry, everyone listening at home. We'll get one up this weekend. Grizz not being here kind of fucked me up, so you can blame Grizz. Now, as always, we have the quick fire. Now, Nick, I don't know if you're aware of how this works in here. I'm just going to read out some some news articles that we didn't want to dive too deep into, just kind of let people know what's happening in the game scene. We might.
So, in other words, you don't want to go on tangents, and you brought someone with ADHD onto the podcast.
Yep, exactly right. Yeah. So you shut your damn beautiful mouth. All right. So let's dive straight into it. Okay. First story off the rank. Now, this story is just fucking getting crazier and weirder and crazier and weirder. The ex Bayonetta voice actress, Helena Taylor, she posted a bunch of charities. Now, a little trigger warning for everyone at home, just FYI, just before we go into this one. Helena Taylor posted a bunch of charities that she would like you to donate your money to if you're not going to buy Bayonetta in solidarity with her. One of those charities was an anti-abortion charity, which, you know, I felt was maybe a little bit tone deaf. Yeah, so there you go. Interesting. Very interesting. So there you go, Helena Taylor. The story just keeps getting weirder. So
no, it does. It's so
hard to know what the fuck is going on, because Platinum Games aren't really saying an awful lot, because like from a legal perspective and a corporate perspective, of course they're not going to say an awful lot, because I don't really want the inner workings getting out too much. But Helena Taylor just seems to be saying something, backtracking, saying another thing. Hey, actually, what I said before was right. Oh no, now that's this. It's just all over the shop. Who fucking knows what's going on?
Well, yeah, because I was not really knowing. I didn't know anything about this. We actually spoke about this on our podcast recording from this past week, because I didn't know about it until LJ brought up, because he was following it quite closely. And yeah, it's based essentially like absolutely wild. Her wanting to wanting, you know, like an excessive amount of money to be the voice of the character in the game.
Yeah.
And the studio going, we can't afford that. However, you know, and then offering her a like a thing. It's like, look,
sum.
Well, no. They said it was a cameo. They were gonna get her to be a cameo, and so because it was a smaller part, it was a smaller funding, right? It was a smaller cost, smaller payment. And that's what she started going on about Twitter about. And then Jen Hale, I think, or
Jennifer Hale,
Jennifer Hale, you know, she came out defending Platinum, saying, hey, you know, a lot of people worked hard in this game and you should buy it. And basically kind of reading between the lines, saying that she knew that it was whatever Helena was saying was completely, utterly wrong.
Yeah.
And then also then more things came out and basically saying, no, this is what actually happened. She was completely fucking talking off her ass because she didn't get...
Jennifer Hale has, we spoke about this last week. She has a lot more games under her belt as a voice actress. Not to be like, hey, you know, like experience over whatever, but also Helena Taylor, the only IP she's ever worked with is Bayonetta as a voice actress. So I don't know. It's an interesting story. It keeps getting weirder, and I hope to bring you the next weird installment next week. Now,
can't wait.
Yep, can't freaking wait, baby. Now, Nick, you're in for a treat, my friend. Someone has scanned every single PS2 manual in full 4K. Yep.
Why?
Dude, I said the exact same thing. But one thing I will say is the nostalgia of like a thick fucking manual. Amazing. I remember getting Neverwinter Nights, and the fucking book was it was like a fucking Lord of the Rings book, mate. It was crazy. There was so much shit in there. And as a kid, looking at these little manuals, it was just awe-inspiring, honestly. It was crazy. So we don't get that anymore. In Nintendo stuff, you just get a little cartridge, and you don't even get a little piece of paper most of the time. But I think nostalgia-wise, why not? But also, why?
Okay, in defense, for Neverwinter Nights, you did need a fucking book for that game, right? But for everything else, it was only like a small booklet. But I guess for in terms of like I'm full support of game preservation.
Yeah.
But like, what compelled the person that did this? Like, this would have been mind-numbing work.
Yeah.
To source all of these manuals and then scan them
in 4K. You need a 4K
I appreciate
scanner.
I appreciate the dedication of this person, but holy like
Fucking cool. Fucking cool shit.
God dang.
So there you go.
Oh.
Now, Nick, next time you come to Perth, mate, I'm going to be sharing my full Steam folder with you because Valve is looking at doing peer-to-peer Steam download transfers over LAN.
Ooh, wow.
So no longer do you have to go into the weird, operating system depths of folder structures trying to figure out where the, Modern Warfare 2 LAN folder is kept so you can give that to your mates so you can play LAN. You can just share the download. I mean, you'll still need to own the game, I would assume. There's no actual solid evidence of exactly what this feature is, but it looks like you'll be able to share anything that you've downloaded with your friends via a LAN connection.
That is great. So, okay, this is interesting because they're essentially breaking down the walls of setting up like a local cache because you can already make like a Steam cache.
Yeah.
And then in a LAN setting, people can access the cache via, a certain IP or whatever and download it from that cache. So yeah, this just seems a much more I
think it's going to be a bit more of a streamlined service, basically.
Streamlined service and for smaller scale as well, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to make
exactly.
You're not going to go to the extent of making a cache just so you can fucking give a game to your mate, whatever. So this is freaking awesome. This is honestly fantastic.
Yeah. So when you come over to do the Age of Mythology LAN with me and Pav, I'll just have it and I'll just share it with you guys via Steam peer to peer.
Yeah.
Done.
Considering like any motherboard probably that's at least came out in like 2019 and a younger has like gigabit or 2.5 gigabit LAN connections. So that's way quicker. Gonna fly. It's gonna absolutely fly.
So fast. Yeah.
So cool.
So I'll download it on my gigabit connection and then share it with you guys when you get here. So
Valve doing more cool shit. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good on you, Valve. Now, I don't know if you heard about the Dark Souls servers going down. Nick, did you hear about that?
No.
So what happened, I'll give you a little bit of backstory. We got a little bit of time up the sleeve. Basically what happened was someone found an exploit where they were able to do code injection into Dark Souls and basically make your computer run power, I think it was PowerShell or something like that. And so basically what happened is someone got invaded on Dark Souls 1 or 2. And then this invader basically injected the voice to text speech on someone's computer, calling them a noob and all this other stuff. And it was this massive issue with basically like a vulnerability breach, and they had to take down the servers of Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 because they're all basically off roughly the same kind of game engine. And presumably it probably affected Elden Ring before that came out, so they had to probably go into crunch trying to get that fixed. Now they've sort of retroactively gone back and fixed the servers of 3, and now they've just fixed 2, and servers for 2 are back online. 1 are still not back online, but there's 2 versions of Dark Souls. 1, Prepare to Die Edition, which is the original, and they've also got remastered. Sounds like Prepare to Die Edition will not be getting updated. Its servers won't be getting updated, so you won't be able to play that online ever again, but the remastered version will be back online at some point soon. So there you go.
How did I miss this? So this happened...
Dude, it was crazy.
What, so like a few months before Elden Ring came out, did it? Or...
Pretty much, yeah. And so it was like, people were just like, I would not want to be those devs. Because you would have had to, they would have had to have crunched that for sure, because there's no way. And I mean, it sounds like it's quite a serious issue to fix because it's taken them a long time to do it per game. I'd say there's a lot of detangling of source code that they're having to do to fix whatever it is that's causing it, and it's just causing a massive issue for them.
Also, can we point out why the actual did they make like online functionality work in like a ground level PowerShell? Like why?
Yeah.
How? Like listen, I'm not a coder. You know programming and coding.
Yeah.
But explain. Do you have an insight as to why it was made? Why possibly they made it that way?
It probably wasn't that they made it that way. It's probably that they were utilizing certain operating system tools that maybe gave them like a bit of a backdoor into people's operating systems. And now all of a sudden, bang, they, it generally things like this. I just like someone has just thought outside the box and gone, I wonder if this would work. Oh shit, I can inject code into this game all of a sudden. And the devs just didn't think along that tangent line at the time.
Oh God, does that mean like any, like, because the way the Invaden works, it's almost like a peer-to-peer, like, invite to game type thing. It's not like you're playing on a server. So like I'm almost curious to think like any other game that has that sort of peer-to-peer connection. Like, do these other games have that type of vulnerability?
Depends on like maybe like it all comes down to the engine that these developers are using and the implementation of the source code. So basically the short version is maybe. Maybe not the exact same way, but potentially. Like, there's no reason why it couldn't do. But it's probably an older game. Like, yeah, it's just crazy. Honestly, that shit was crazy. But you can go and check out the actual video of the guy getting invaded, because it was a Twitch streamer when it happened. And yeah, it's actually quite hilarious.
I'm glad that they didn't say any like serious shit, and it was more like,
well, I mean, but they could have done way worse shit than that. They could have literally deleted his fucking like computer.
I he absolutely could have done worse. But you know what? I appreciate the person using it as like a troll thing rather than serious, like, I'm gonna screw up people's computers, because that could have been so bad.
Absolutely.
And maybe because like Dark Souls 1 was quite old, so yeah, maybe it was built on some old framework, and it just they just modified it. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it also, whatever vulnerability it was, it also affected Dark Souls 2 and 3 and probably Elden Ring.
So, yeah, because they probably just kept building on it, like like freaking Bethesda with their creation engine. They're like, no, we won't make a new engine. We'll just keep adding on to it and shit.
This one works fine.
So
meanwhile,
that was probably why.
Crying in the background.
Can you imagine if someone just played the long game, became friends with you to play Stardew Valley with you, just so they could inject code into your computer?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that's what Grizz is doing. It makes a lot of sense now. But there you go. So Dark Souls 2 servers are back online now.
Wow.
Something even weirder and crazier. Well, you know, it's still pretty weird. Basically, the store is closed. A co-op survival game that is set in a furniture store. IKEA has asked them to stop. To basically remove all of their in-game assets. That it's just. I'm gonna post this in the chat because it's actually fucking hilarious.
Oh my god. I saw this game earlier this week, and I was like, I need it. Like, I need to play it. It's so cool.
I'm just going to post the entire link just for people at home. Basically, it's like it's a very IKEA-esque advert on some of the in-game assets, and this one says Swedish meat now with 79% flesh. IKEA is basically like, hey, can you guys maybe not do that? So yeah, quite hilarious. They've raised just over $49,000 on Kickstarter to get their co-op survival game out. So there you go.
I saw this. It was a TikTok that my boss sent me, and that's how I discovered it. And then I watched it, and I was like I said before, I don't like scary games, right? But anything that I can play with friends, like, I'm way more willing to play. So the idea of like, you know, playing on the conception, this is why again, indie game renaissance, playing on the conception that everybody's talked about, like, oh my god, imagine if you got locked in IKEA overnight, right? Like, if you know,
and this is the survival game.
Yeah, and this is actually a survival game where you actually have to use like the shit in IKEA to build for like defenses and stuff. You have to go out and find food. So you got to go make a trip to the cafeteria, get those sweet meatballs,
Swedish meatballs.
And there's actually like creatures and shit you have to defend from. Like, it's such a great concept. Like,
very, very smart. Aren't you great? Isn't it great?
Honestly,
it's great that we have access to this.
It's shame on IKEA, because this is such a great marketing thing that they didn't even have to pay for.
Yeah, I super agree.
They changed the name. Like, they don't use the IKEA name. They changed the name, right?
Yeah. It's just like, it's IKEA-esque.
Yeah.
Basically.
There's nothing wrong with that. This is a great marketing opportunity for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, so obviously the adverts look fairly IKEA-ish, but also the fact that it's a Swedish, furniture store. But IKEA, you don't have the rights to the whole Swedish culture, mate. Okay, so just fucking chill out, will you, pal? All right, just freaking step off.
Something they didn't show in the little trailers that they've seen. I wonder if you have to build all your base defenses and your tools with an Allen key like that.
Oh my god. And you can upgrade the Allen key over time.
Yeah. My wooden Allen key is now an iron Allen key. And now
actually such a big brain idea. I love that so much. That would be amazing. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that game out, but it looks very interesting. So there you go.
Yeah.
IKEA telling people to step off. Now, speaking about Age of games, Age of Empires is coming to Xbox consoles. Actual consoles, rather than, no longer are we going to be playing this fucking game with a mouse and keyboard, Nick. We're going to be playing it with a goddamn controller. That's going to be interesting to see how they optimize that game for controller.
Look, to be fair, I can't remember the. You probably have to search it, but Halo Wars 1 and 2.
Good point.
That was that was very well adapted to consoles. Like it was great. Like like Halo Wars was a really good experience on console. So I think they'll probably just take what they learnt from those two games and apply that to Age of Empires, because you're smart. There's like Age of Empires doesn't really have, like any. There's not like a crazy amount of extra features. Like they're pretty much the same in terms of feature set and controls. So honestly, I see it being perfectly fine, to be honest. I'm down for it.
Very smart, very cool. I like it. So there you go. Age of Empires coming at you soon.
Can you imagine, right? You are on your work break and you pull out your phone with your Xbox controller and you start playing Age of Empires on your freaking phone. Cap, we're living in the future. We're playing Age of Empires on your phone.
Dude, this is fucking Jetsons shit happening right now. We're no longer the Flintstones. We are the freaking Jetsons, baby. It's all happening. It's all freaking happening. Now, Pokemon fan, Nick?
Yes.
You like them Pokemans? Yeah. Okay. Oh, actually, good point. What's wrong with me? Of course. You got a freaking Charizard, bloody.
Lily wearing Charizard on a hoodie.
You like Pokemon, kid? Yeah, no, obviously, duh.
Okay. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Love Pokemon.
Now, the new Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet, they been announcing a bunch of new Pokemon. The newest one is the goodest Ghost Boy. Now, I had to pronounce this fucking thing. Graveyard. Kind of a play on graveyard, but it's Gravard. Is that how I pronounce it?
Can you post it in the Twitch chat? Like
how do I fucking say this? Gravard, and he's fucking cute.
Oh,
they kind of.
So yeah, Greavard. So it's probably Greavard.
Yeah, kind of a play on the whole idea of graveyard, right? And they the trailer kind of does it like a ghost hunter. It is kind of like, those ghost hunter like documentary things where they're going into.
I watched it, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So for those at home, that's kind of the vibe of the trailer.
Yeah.
And then the person sort of in the trailer finds this little dog that kind of looks like a Muttley almost off of that old cartoon show.
It's Frankenweenie. Tim Burton.
Frankenweenie. What is a Frankenweenie? I've never heard of that.
Wait, no. Tim Burton made a film called Frankenweenie.
Oh yes, with ya.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, this dog is insanely cute. He's got a little candle on his head, and he is just like got like a bone in his mouth, running around. Like he's just too cute. He's too cute. Those at home, go and check out the trailer, because I think that this is gonna be my main Pokemon in Scarlet. When I buy Scarlet. Oh, Scarlet or Violet, Nick? Which one are you going with? Actually, I think I'm on Violet.
I bought both, but I'm going to play Violet first because I'm a bit of a tech boy and I like the kind of jet dragon aesthetic of
I thought the same thing.
Sorry, go for it. Yeah.
I think I like the aesthetic a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I definitely The interesting thing about that trailer, though, I can't wait to read the Pokedex entry for Greavard, right? Because we know, Pokedex entries, they get wild and they get dark.
Yeah.
And what the trailer made it seem like is that this little dog, right, will play with you and to the point of exhausting you so it can suck your soul or that's what it seemed like. She was playing fetch with him and then she started getting tired and she passed out.
And then it just licks you to death. Holy shit.
Wow, he licks your face and sucks your soul.
Holy shit.
That's honestly, that's my guess as to what the theory behind it is.
I don't want this fucking Pokemon anymore. What the hell? Yeah. They're crazy. Okay, well, now we've got two more quick stories. We'll quickly get through these ones because we need to wrap this bad boy up. The next Dragon Age iteration, Dreadwolf, has just reached Alpha. Next, that's pretty exciting for all those Dragon Age fans out there. And Another story, Nick. Genshin
Mhm.
Impact is adding a card game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's getting its own fucking Gwent inside the game. The game that has had everything. I suppose the only thing they need now is Guitar Hero. So just to copy what Warframe's been doing. And then, yeah.
I mean, they do have people in Genshin that have like musical instruments or musical influences.
Halfway
so
there, dude. They're
It's
so
just
close.
they're literally
so close.
halfway there.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about about this card game they're making for Genshin literally functions the way Gwent did in Witcher 3. It's purely PvE. So there's no external
Cool.
purchases. You have to earn the currency in the game to buy cards and stuff.
That's not very Genshin. What the hell?
Yeah, but there is dude, they make fucking stonks on the characters.
Yeah.
They don't need
Yeah.
to. But then there is PvP because the game is multiplayer. That's where so
okay.
yeah, which is great. So it's like it's a side activity that people can just kind of have fun with, and by making it purely like no microtransactions, like it's purely in-game earned, like it's adding to the content value proposition of Genshin.
Honestly, dude, that blows my damn mind. I can't believe they're not making people pay for this shit, but good on them. Well done.
Well, you're saying that we don't actually know if it's any good.
True. It might be garbo.com, but we'll find out. We'll find out.
Also, could you just quickly confirm for me? So the Dragon Age thing you said, that the Dreadwolf, what is that? This is not Dragon Age 4.
It is effectively Dragon Age 4.
Oh, okay. So
so they did announce recently that they've been working on another Dragon Age, the next game in the series.
Yeah.
It's going to be called Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which is going to follow that old elf. I can't remember his fucking name.
That dude. Yeah,
that guy,
the smug one, the asshole,
the smug bastard. He's going to be the guy, and they've just announced that internally it has reached alpha. So they're getting there. Solus, thanks, Pixel.
Solus, yeah. Okay. Okay. So sorry. Now I'm gathering because Dragon Age Inquisition, which was the third Dragon Age, didn't have the 3 designations, so they're just kind of going.
But it's the third.
Yeah.
It happened after 2.
If it just hit alpha, man, that's a ways away. I feel sorry for the hardcore Dragon Age fans.
Yeah. And I would even argue it might be BioWare's last shot at not getting, taken at the back by EA.
Yeah.
Not to get grim, but still, I think, BioWare's not been doing particularly well recently. So, better fucking pull your socks up, fellas. So,
I really hope for their sake it goes well. Like, I was burned by Anthem. I was so excited to be an Iron Man, but that I got burned.
Unfortunately, Andromeda didn't do particularly well. The Mass Effect Andromeda game. Well, I think it was a decent enough game, but it just had a Cyberpunk launch. It was just garbo. So that's what I'm going to start calling those from now on, a Cyberpunk launch. But anyways, that is the whole show. Thank you so much for freaking being here, Nick. It has been an absolute pleasure talking games with you, mate. I hope you enjoyed your time here. I've thoroughly frothed on having you in here. I think we've had some really good combos.
Likewise. I literally thrive off this kind of stuff. I love talking games because it's like, like with you boys, games are one of our biggest passions in life.
It's our glue, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. So just getting time to sit down, talk about this shit, talk about news. Like I'm like I said, I love talking about news, the latest stuff, like announcements. I live for this. I live for this shit. So it has been a pleasure. I really appreciate it deeply that I got to be on the podcast with you guys. So thank you for asking me to be on it.
Mate, absolutely. We'll have you back for freaking sure. Now, anything before you leave, I'm going to need to get your nude card before you go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No worries. I will send it to you right now. However, there's going to be there's a microtransaction paywall for every pixel.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Per pixel.
Excellent. Okay, good. Hopefully, it's no more than a 6x6 or so, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here. We bloody appreciate you. We go live every Monday night from 7 p.m. AWST. I think that's about 9:30 p.m. for Nick, unfortunately. So thank you for doing the late shift with us, brother.
I'm a night owl. It's fine.
But yeah, we're live every week from Monday, and we also are available on all the major podcasting platforms. So make sure that you go and like, comment, subscribe, especially like and comment on our podcast stuff. We'd really like some 5-star reviews and just some nice comments about our content. We'd really appreciate that. Also, please go and tell one person about this podcast. please.
Do it.
So there's that. Go and fucking tell someone, please. Now, as always, thank you so much to our Patreons. Again, you know who you are. If you would like to become a patron, you can do so by going to patreon.com/OGR show. I think it is. Just fucking Google it. You'll find it. We have Twitter. We post a OGR poll every week, apart from last week, apparently. So don't quote me on that one. But yeah, we normally post an OGR poll every week. Yeah, you can go and vote in that and follow all of our happenings and bits and pieces that we post throughout the week. That is twitter.com/OGR show. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Oceanic Gaming Radio. And I think that's about it. I need to go and feed an infant immediately and look after him. But yeah, again, thank you for watching and being a part of the show and consuming this content. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the flip side. Again, Nick, thank you so much for stepping in for Grizz. You've been a fucking pleasure.
No worries. You boys have been a pleasure as well. Thank you so much, guys. Please go tell everybody about the OGR, because for every one person you tell is one help for Pav as his PC slowly dies. So don't let Pav cry. Don't let Pav cry. You wouldn't want to see Pav cry.
No,
promote Oceanic Gaming Radio. Do it.
Yeah, exactly. Do it. But yeah,
you guys,
we'll see you guys
honestly, you guys are doing amazing work here, and it's fantastic to see you guys going well. So fantastic.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate you, brother.
Cheers,
Big kisses. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.
That's a wrap.
Oh yeah. All right, I'm stopping that recording.
Perfect. We need.
Nick, that was awesome, dude.
Yeah, cheers, Nick.
Really good.
That was incredible.
That was. I had so much fun. Thank you, boys. Like seriously, it's been so much fun. And I did forget. I was gonna retweet from the stream room Twitter, and I totally forgot. But please tell me once the episode goes out on.
It'll be live by the morning.
Oh shit! Okay, awesome. Because send me links to it, and I'm gonna tweet it from the stream room Twitter for sure.
Fuck yeah!
I have authority over the Twitter, so I can do it.
Yes, baby.
Beauty.
That's what I'm talking about.
We do need a title.
Ooh.
Something with Nick in the title would be cool.
Yeah, or I was going to say OGR podcast is getting a remake.
Yeah. I feel like we've done a remake title.
Have we done that? Okay.
I don't know. I think it might have been like our third episode or something.
I felt in my head a parody of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but it's the Witcher or the Witches, because you got the Witcher with the story. The Bayonetta's a witch, and then so you come up with two parodies for The Lion and the Wardrobe. So maybe working Game Pass somewhere in there. Yeah.
That is amazing. I don't know if I can fill those fucking gaps for you, Nick. I really don't know if I can do it. I'm operating 4 hours of sleep, man. Okay, I'm trying.
My brain waves are working really hard. The Mario, the Witcher, and the Game Pass. I don't know.
How about Xbox Series success?
Question.
And we just leave it there.
Xbox Series success. That's pretty good.
Ooh, that's actually really good.
That's pretty good.
Really
Let's
do that. Lock that in. Lock that in.
Honorable mention, Sukai. We nicked another host. It's very good. That's pretty good. But I think we'll land on, what was it again?
Xbox Series success, and then just put a question mark in there, because that's how you do. It's smart marketing, baby. You gotta hit him with the fucking question mark. Right. Now I need to get moving and look after my son so Mia can go have sleep.
We have a raid target. We just need a raid target.
That was what I was going to say. We need a raid target. So Nick, have you got a raid target? Probably someone in a smaller community. Something you recommend?
Uno Momento. Let me pull up my following list. Let's have a little cheeky
Robotron is on as well.
Look. Is he? Fucking hell. Oh,
Robotron.
Rob.
I love
Darkroom.
I got to spend a good amount of time with him at PAX. He's so fucking cool.
Yeah, he came down to Perth for Pixel Expo, and he hosted our panel. It was really fucking sick.
He is literally the nicest guy ever. Straight up. And which is like when you watch his show, like because I watched his show after I like came back from PAX. And I'm like, this dude's hardcore and I fucking love it.
This file is 4 gigs.
What's up?
This file is 4 gigs.
Oh, good fun. Let's hope my file is good.
Okay. It'll be fine.
I'll start uploading it. All right. It's only look. I mean, it's It's going to be done in like it's still calculating about 20 minutes. Cool. So
should be right.
I'll share you a link once it's done.
Thank you.
Up to you, boys. Robotron, I'm happy with that. But do you guys know Stormy streams?
We do Stormy streams pretty often.
Okay, do it. Okay, never mind.
I might have to leave you guys to this.
Cool.
Nick, a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
Mwah.
Appreciate you, baby.
Love you, Cap.
Big kisses. I will chat to you later. Pav, let me know if you need anything. Cool. You've got the title. Twitch, thank you so much for being here. You guys fucking rock. And we'll see you guys next week.
Beautiful.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys. I'll see you later. Pav, I'll flick you a link once I have that file.
Sounds good. I'll chat to you soon.
All right, dude.
Bye-bye.